let's be honest. You're not officially an X-Men type character unless you went through some kind of bullying, right? See, there's this mutant being that can adapt anything, this being known as Darwin. You probably saw him in live-action X-Men movies, and he apparently had limits on what he couldn't adapt in that movie, so apparently he couldn't adapt to Havoc's power, and literally died. Let's just say it's a little different in comics. Like literally almost every mutant character, he had a rough past. I mean, he did have like a strange alien-type look, but yeah, his parents, his mom and dad were mean to him. His dad left because he thought there's no way you could be his kid. He wouldn't give birth to an alien-looking person like him, apparently, which is jacked up. The mom blamed him for her husband leaving him. He always wanted his mom's approval. They found out that he was ridiculously smart, potentially to become the smartest kid in the whole country. And she was asking, will any of these schools take him in to where I don't have to really hold him really at all? Like she wanted a school to where he could live basically. Sad. Poor Darwin. The whole reason he was doing so good in school was to make her smile like that anyway. That was part of the motivation to please her. So yeah, he enrolled to a school, a place where he spent 9 years. He would visit home for the occasional holidays. He was a good student, but yeah, he got bullied by the other people at the school. And during one of the bully sessions, that's when he figured out he had a mutation. He was only 15 and beat them until unconsciousness. They learned never to pick on him again. He was in denial about his own mutation, so his mutant ability got hidden for another year without nobody noticing. Then we got another occasion of his adaptation ability is when his mom accidentally burned the house down. She was smoking. He had no trouble adapting, breathing through the smoke. The heat was not effective against him. They even went as far as calling him fireproof. And that's when everything changed. Word got around. They found out he's in a constant state of evolution. They go as far as saying put him in a pitch black room. He had developed the ability to see in the dark, fill the air with gas. His lungs learned to process it like air. People even published papers about him. Mom still doesn't approve of him, even though he still loves her. He couldn't even end his own life because his body, like when he tried to, his body grew lighter. His bones grew soft enough to where when he landed, he bounced when he hit the pavement. As you know, you can tell based on this video already, he's one of the most versatile characters because his body adapts instantly to whatever he needs. I mean, let's get into it. I mean, you already seen a few examples of his versatile abilities based on his adaptation power, like him sprouting gills to survive, the breathing water, can survive in the vacuum of space, developing rock fists to make his punches harder, insane regeneration, like he can grow his body from pure energy. Yeah, he can literally regenerate from energy. Smart people like Beast, for example, thought it was impossible. Pass through lasers, trying to cut his neck, it'll stretch or adapt to not be cut. Body can deflect bullets. And it's pretty much proven here a gun to the head ain't gonna kill him. Even if you somehow get his head blown away, yeah, he can still adapt, and he has a head in his stomach. Like what the? He even theorizes that apparently people can't fool him when it comes to disguises because if they pose a threat to him somehow or his survival, he probably evolved to some sort of ability to see through his disguise or to be able to jolt his molecular structure. Stated here, he can shock beings back into their forms. He's had a slime form, sponge form. How do you withstand stuff that can disrupt the nervous system? Feel no pain form. His body adapts to absorbing bullets, eating lead. His body will straight up teleport him away from danger. His body decides to, it will decide the best method is to teleport, be somewhere else to survive. I mean, you already seen his stone fist earlier, so it makes sense he has a stone form, gel form, sensing heat signatures form. I guess in a way you can look at him as a support too, because he can not only adapt for himself, but he can also adapt to help other beings stay alive by converting into pure energy and bonding to them, by absorbing remnants of the things he needs. Yes, he can adapt to increase his speed, just in case you're worried. He can stress like Mr. Fantastic. Can't get drunk because that's harmful. Evolved to the point where he doesn't need sleep anymore. On top of all this stuff that makes him scary, he already has a literal adaptation power, but let's just say he's improved as time goes by when it comes to learning his abilities and understanding how to use them better. There was points in his career where Professor X even noted if he can control it at will, the possibilities would be endless, limitless potential, which would make sense for him. His body will even adjust his skin color if he feels that's a threat for him as well. Like if he's in a Caucasian environment, it'll turn whiter so he can fit in, so his life won't be in danger. Like what? And while his mutant ability is primarily a defensive skill, he seems to be way more versatile than just defense. Like there's some occasions where he can just straight up trigger specific mutations at will. Now let's analyze his muscle, even though it does vary though. You can get an idea of how strong he is when it comes to his muscle, how much he can lift based on the beings he has to grapple with. His muscle can pick up people with one arm. We've seen his muscle wrestle with actual dragons. His muscle even going so far to adapt to the point where he just breaks the jaw of this dragon. We've seen his muscle clash with strong beings like Shatterstar. This could really give you an idea of how strong he really would be because let's just say physically Shatterstar isn't weak. He can do thousands of push-ups. He can toss around, swing the Thing's dumbbells, y'all. Y'all know how strong the Thing is, one of the most strongest beings in the Marvel Universe. I have a high respect for him. I mean, we've even seen Shatterstar match the Thing's muscle. I don't know if you guys are new to the channel, but the Thing has Hulkish type strength. So that's why Shatterstar doing that is impressive, and that's why Darwin doing this is impressive. Like, it's implied his strength can adapt with the powerhouses to be able to lift mountains, even planets, you know, because that's what powerhouses in Marvel do. Powerhouses in Marvel can support the weight of stars and stuff. That's kind of stuff Hulk and them can do. That's why Darwin doing that to Shatterstar is impressive, because he kind of matched the Thing, and the Thing can match the Hulk, who can do stuff like this. So via adaptation and stuff like that, Darwin should probably be able to produce strength, be able to lift planets too. It wouldn't be that much of a shock, right? If you don't believe he can lift planets right now, you probably will believe it the farther the video goes, trust me. Anybody that gets involved with Professor X, you know they're going to get some kind of training. That's Darwin's case. He got extensive training from Professor X to help himself out when it comes to just overall skills. That's why in combat situations, from time to time, you'll see him use straight hands and boxing beings. I mean, he was even boxing beings that was giving Nightcrawler them issues. It's like a skill and strength feat, you could say. Naturally, it doesn't take rocket science when somebody's trained with skills, has all this super strength to hold on the ships that can go light speed and stuff. I already kind of showed or implied earlier that he has strength lifting power that could get to the levels of beings like the Thing. So there's no really surprise if you got this kind of strength. It would be weird if his punches wasn't crazy too. So when you see occasions of him kicking doors off of hinges, it shouldn't really be that much of a shock. This guy is a nightmare to make prisons for. I mean, think about it. He's a character that lives in Marvel. No telling what his version of rocks that his fist turned into feel like. He was literally able to punch through something that was made to hold him. Good luck trying to contain him. If I'm being honest, Darwin feels like undefeatable, or you could say maybe he can be defeated, but his own powers defeat himself or something, because when it comes to being KO'd, it seems like he's unKO'able. I guess if you're extremely high end, you can punch him hard enough to where he can't adapt fast enough. So I guess there is a way to overload him fast enough if your hits are just ridiculously overpowered. Like the Hulk was super mad here, for example. And even then, he still technically adapted. And his best solution was to just be somewhere else. Yeah, his body can withstand hits from beings that can easily destroy planets. That's common in Marvel stuff. You know, the Hulk is one of those beings that can destroy planets easily. He can adapt to it. Just a friendly reminder that this is the kind of beings that Hulk can overpower. Beings like Gladiator in Marvel, you know, Gladiator is the same being that can generate planet pulverizing power, rip apart black holes. This kind of stuff is reiterated, narrated. This is not an exaggeration when you see the characters he boxes do this kind of stuff. So yeah, these beings can collapse stars, and Hulk is overpowering these such beings, and that's who Darwin is taking hits from. I mean, he even made an adaptation ability to kind of drain the Hulk of gamma energy. Now, this is where stuff gets tricky, understanding his limits, because we know Hell Lords are pretty much Skyfather tier. And we're not even going to talk about Hell Lords in their own realm and stuff. So, what is the limits? Can he adapt to a Hell Lord and overpower a Hell Lord tier being? Yes, actually. Hela tried to murk Darwin, and he adapted to survive to the point where he basically became Hell Lord tier Hela level himself. I guess you could say this is his weakness, because him evolving like this kind of made him on the darker side anyway, but, his power level went up. He practically became Hela. He technically became the Lord of Death, so you can pretty much look at it like whatever Hela can do, you could say Darwin can do in this state. Literally everything. Like, he can turn away her army of the dead at will, decay bodies, age you, decay you, blah, blah, blah. And if we consider how hard Hela can hit, Darwin in this state, he's literally Hela. You can assume he can hit as hard as her too, or blast as hard as her, vice versa. So you remember how earlier in the video, how I said it might be hard to believe he can lift planets, but after seeing that he could literally jump to the levels of Hela, you could even argue he could surpass the powerhouses of Marvel by a large margin, being literally Hela level, because look at it. Just a friendly reminder that Hela has defeated magical beings that are ridiculously powerful like Amora, Enchantress. Hela has even put in work against Enchantress and Thor. And you do the math. If Darwin is on Hela's level, what does that say about Darwin? You see, considering that Thor level beings can hit hard enough to shake universe-sized structures and stuff, what does that say about Darwin? I would say via blast power, he should also be able to produce universe-shaking power based on the fact he's literally Hela level. Hela is a being that can overpower Curse, and if Darwin is this strong, you know how strong Curse is. This dude Curse is fight Banner Rebuild and Thor. Matter of fact, Hela and another Hell Lord going to war would end up being an omniversal Armageddon that not even Ragnarok could compare to. aka power enough to be threatened multiple dimensions or universes. So in his fully adopted Hela form, he could basically produce universe destroying power. Of course, even more universe destroying stuff is kind of normal for the beings in his high end of Marvel. And of course, he should have Hela level fighting speed. But it's not much else to say. Yeah, he's a high end, especially his higher ends of adapting abilities. He might be the toughest character to actually take KO. Because even if you hit him and his body isn't able to get durable enough to react, he can become intangible, become into an element that can't be harmed. He can turn into air or something like. There's so many things he can do to make himself unhurtable or unkillable. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Do you think he can adapt better than Doomsday from DC Comics? Well, even when you look at his grid, they make it clear that thanks to his powers of adaptation that he can pretty much be in any tier. You see the yellow bar, it is an indicator of Darwin's reactive mutation, so he can literally jump. Honestly, he's got the power to pretty much grow to eat the galaxy if he wanted to, based on how he can adapt to Hell Lords and crap. But thank you, donators. Respect Darwin, though. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.